Before arriving, I really didn't know that much about Nepal outside of like movies and documentaries about Mount Everest. So I knew there was obviously a lot of natural beauty here, and it was obviously a very unique place, but yeah, I really didn't know much about Nepal and honestly never thought I'd have the chance to be here. So I'm really excited to be here on this trip.
I've learned a lot about the policy side of environmental issues, but I've never gotten the chance to work in the field or to actually track an animal. So one part, I just really wanted to get that hands-on experience that this course offers, and I've also always wanted to come to Nepal. It's a beautiful place and the Himalayas fascinate me, and so I'm so excited to get the chance to actually go up into them. And of course, snow leopards are awesome, so I want to look for them.
On foot from his home in Kathmandu to the summit of the mountain.
Another pass in the Jongla and went to BBC, and it was day 24.
My name is Philip Naihus. I am a professor of environmental studies at Colby College in Maine. I am here in Nepal for 3.5 weeks with 12 students as part of a course titled Wildlife and Conservation in Nepal. Our goals on this course were to come to Nepal to learn about wildlife and conservation from conservation professionals, as well as to learn about the culture and people and religion of Nepal. So we combined field studies and looking at wildlife in the mountains and in the lower elevation regions. We also spent time in the cities like Kathmandu. I'm a big proponent of field-based learning. I think there's a value for learning from textbooks and exams and papers in the classroom, but we do that all the time. The January program at Colby College is a unique opportunity for students to travel to other countries, and in this case, an unparalleled opportunity to spend time with some of the world's leading conservation experts on snow leopards, tigers, and other wildlife. The students are immersed in the real-world complications of conservation, learning how difficult it is to look for elusive snow leopards at 12,000 feet, for example, or to work with communities in the buffer zones near Chitwan National Park. So I think this is, we say that a picture is worth 1,000 words. A trip to Nepal must be worth millions of words. The opportunities and challenges are for conservation and development and public health and many other dimensions of work here in Nepal.
This course and this experience is really helpful for me, and as somebody who's studying environmental science. And while I'm not exactly sure which field I want to go into, I know that I'm really keen on is what needs to be done in the future so I can find my role in that. And learning from the way that protected areas are looked at and conserved in Nepal, I think will be super helpful for me to think about the future of what I want to do and learn just more about the field of study in environmental sciences in general.
think the biggest challenge for me personally will be just keeping my energy up throughout the trip. I know that, as the days go on, we'll be doing a lot, and we might not always sleep the best or be the most comfortable. So I think, the biggest challenge will just be like keeping my energy up. But I also know we're going to be in such amazing places that it'll be hard not to be just, completely enamored by what we see.
I'm definitely the most worried about altitude sickness. So I don't know how to go when I'm 13,000 feet up, and I hope I'm not nauseous, but I know that we're gonna learn a lot about altitude sickness and how to manage it, and I also got motion sickness meds. But I think that will be my biggest challenge.
In Nepali, it's called Sorgodwari, way to heaven.
For me, I'm definitely a little bit scared of the elevation. I don't know if I've ever been down up to 13,000 feet before. At home in New York, I live at about 0 feet, as close to the sea as you can get. So it's gonna be super different for me. I'm also a little bit nervous just about the cold. I can't say I've ever experienced cold up in the Himalayas and in January. So I'm definitely a little bit nervous for that. But I think that we'll all get through it together.
Hi, my name is Tyler. I'm a sophomore at Colby College, and I'm studying environmental computation and mathematical sciences. And I'm here in Nepal. We have been here for about 7 days now. We spent a couple of days in Kathmandu when we first arrived, but since then we have slowly been climbing up into the mountains. We've been taking this trip pretty slow so that our bodies can acclimate, get used to the elevation. And I feel like my experience has kind of been rising and becoming more exciting as we've driven up further into the mountains. The views have gotten better and better. as we've reached higher elevations.
That pattern, and it's a little bit down, and it differentiates with the camera quality also.
Oh yeah, I see that, but like, is there a reason why it wouldn't be beneficial for them to roar, or like a reason that they might evolve to like not have that bone?
Manang temperature was, according to the internet, -1.
Right there, yeah.
We've just found like a snow leopard scent marking. We had to get under the rock a little bit, but it left kind of a yellowish orange discolored patch, and if you get your nose right under it, it's a very sharp, very pungent scent. So it's very cool that we could identify that.
Disgusting to look at.
You guys, wait, did any of you guys see anything cool?
We saw a lot of blue sheep, a lot of yaks.
Yeah, we practiced looking at blue sheep for like 2 hours.
So we went and got our breakfast
We
on
ordered
the way
breakfast
back
at like 9:30 and then we ate it up.
At a tea shop.
You're just like salivating thinking of it.
From an expedition perspective, from a team perspective, it was a success, and I know that the entire team here at Snow Leopard Haven spent weeks preparing that,
somebody would find something, and your strategy worked to divide everybody up into different groups, and indeed one of the groups was able to see snow leopards. So the expedition was a success.
I think this trip has made me think a lot about human-wildlife conflict. Looking at an animal and seeing it as a real threat was not something I'd experienced before.
This has been a great trip to learn that wildlife conservation is so much less concrete than is showed in the textbooks and in school. I think I'm very privileged to live in a space where I don't experience that on a day-to-day life. And that's something that I'm very grateful for, but I also think can really negatively impact my awareness of problems like this. And so being able to be kind of on the front lines of human-wildlife conflict and see that firsthand and talk to people who live that as their daily lived experience has been something that I don't think I could ever get out of school or out of staying in the States, period. So that's been something that was really unexpected for me because I hadn't really considered that my preconceived notions were wrong, and they were.
As part of this course, we tried to introduce scientific literature as well as discussions from experts, but also learning from the students themselves and their own observations. And this is in many ways mimics what happens in real-world conservation. You need to understand the literature, you need to understand what other people are doing, but you also have to make observations yourself. So in this short course, the students had the opportunity to write in daily journals, to take notes, to take observations. So this was a very interdisciplinary course, and students were exposed to a range of interdisciplinary tools.
I think regarding conservation in areas such as the Annapurna Range, the really pragmatic response to human-wildlife conflict is not something I've had much exposure to in the US. We don't have a lot of remaining large predators, and we have far less free-range animals, so watching the interaction between herders and conservationists and the way that people balanced valuing animals and valuing the environment holistically was really interesting to see.
These two are females.